show is about to begin. Enjoy.
Michael O'Grady, I Creativi.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 15 of Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. And today I have a really awesome, I can't talk right now. We're already off to a good start. I have a really awesome creative guest with me today. She is a former guitar tech and luthier and now works in music licensing. Am I correct on that
Yeah,
to say that?
yes.
With West One Music Group
Yes.
here in Los Angeles, California. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Miss Martina Comuzzi. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for coming down and hanging out and seeing what this is all about.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Now I sound like I'm quoting the Hokey Pokey here.
As if a Swede would know what that is.
You guys don't. Well, so let me clarify this real quick. You are from Sweden.
I am.
I asked you before we started this episode, I was like, where are you from specifically in Sweden? And you said, save it for the show
Save it for the show.
to see if I
'cause
can pronounce it, because it's not Stockholm.
It is not. Everybody thinks that, all Swedes are from Stockholm, but,
Yeah.
there's 9 million others in Sweden.
Right,
So,
yeah.
no, I'm from a town called Växjö.
Växjö?
Pretty good.
It's
Because whenever I say this, people always go like,
Växjö.
like they cannot. And yeah, it's pretty good.
Wait.
Växjö.
Vikram.
It's literally, it has the weirdest sounds in the
Ye-
Swedish language in one word.
Right.
So it's V-A with 2 dots, X-J-O with 2 dots. So
Oh
it's
my God.
Växjö.
Växjö.
Yeah, Växjö.
Växjö.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so. No wonder you guys are such good musicians and
Yeah.
singers, because the syllables in it,
Mm.
that to me is like, it's very. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
that might be it.
your ears have to I'm like, oh my God, like I'm from Ohio, where everything is
That's
just
impressive too.
not really. No, I had to get the hell out of there. No, that almost made me think of. There's an episode of Friends where I don't remember what nationality or whatever it is, but the guy's name is Vikram. And he's like, and that's almost what it made me think of. It sounded like somebody's name for a second.
Yeah.
So that's where you're from. That's the city.
That's the
in-
city.
That's the city in Sweden.
Yeah. I
and
always just say in the south.
south of
'Cause
Sweden.
they're, it's too complicated.
Do you do what I do? Like I do the whole thing where people know Cleveland, Ohio, and then I go, okay, if you know Cleveland, do you know Youngstown? And if they go no, I go, all right, I'm from Cleveland. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
pretty
do you ever tell people I'm from Stockholm? Like whatever.
Never.
Never do that. There you go. Make your
I'll
hometown
say-
proud.
Well, I'll go like, you're not gonna know what this is, but I'll be like, south of Sweden, and then people go from where, what town, and I'll go, oh, do you know Malmö? And people will usually go no,
Right.
and then I'll go, do you know Copenhagen? And
Oh.
people will go yes, but that's
know
not,
Copenhagen.
and they get confused because it's not in Sweden, but actually it's only 2.5 hours from where I'm from, because you just take the train.
Oh.
So that's what we fly into, and you just take the bridge over
Because
on
you
the
can't fly
train.
into your hometown.
Well, you can, but not from here.
Is it
you
like
know?
is it like too small?
It's like they fly to Stockholm and they fly to Cyprus twice a year, kind of thing.
Oh,
For the
okay,
charter,
gotcha.
the
Right, to get
families.
exactly.
On
Yeah.
their vacations. Like that's the kind of airport. That's it. Yeah.
It sounds like there's like a lot of explaining you have to do.
It's an interesting place to grow up.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
ever get like, my family always gives me shit for if I don't say where I'm from properly. Like if I don't go, I'm from Warren, Ohio, they get really pissed. Do you have that? Like, make sure, I already forgot how to say your hometown name.
Yeah.
Växjö.
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 Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. No, because they understand
They-
that it's impossible.
They get it. They're like, we know, nobody. Yeah.
Yeah, but I try to represent. We have some really cool bands from my hometown.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you got?
I mean, they're big in Europe. They're called The Ark.
Oh, okay. I don't think
I
I've heard
don't
of them.
know if they ever really, became big here, but yeah, The Ark, Melody Club, The Mo, a lot of pop bands came out of Växjö.
Yeah.
But big rock scene as well. I was in a rock band, and
You were in a rock band?
yeah, man.
Yeah, I totally, yeah, I know. Yeah. You're more rock and roll than I am.
I doubt it.
I don't know. I would think you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I take that with pride.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was a great place to grow up. Just to, music was always there. It was always a possibility to do music and just be around people that enjoyed it. So,
I feel like the people from Sweden, it is a very like creative, artsy. I mean, granted, we live here in Los Angeles, so anybody that you're gonna meet out here is an
Yours is
actor,
amplified,
or or a musician, and it's just like there's so many people that I've met in Los Angeles from Sweden. It's bananas the amount of people.
No, I know. I need to watch what I say when I'm with my Swedish friends because I'm like, they're always watching, you know.
Like you never know who's
never.
like-
Well, I mean, I think we can kind of spot each other from, you know, like a distance. I'm always like, they're Swedish, or
Right.
at least from Scandinavia.
Can you pick it out even if they're speaking English? Can you hear
Yeah.
a little bit of the accent, even if
usually.
they're really good at it? And
Yeah.
now, how long have you been in Los Angeles?
So I been kind of back and forth, but this time around I've been here for 4 years.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. Because
yeah.
you got to do the whole get your green card, get your citizenship, that whole thing.
It's a whole mess. That's a mess.
That
But no, I went here, oh my God, 7 years ago to attend MI.
right.
So I did the guitar craft program there.
Yep.
So I learned how to build guitars, which was amazing. And then I actually got a job in Australia. So I lived there.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Right after MI.
Well, I actually took a break and I backpacked South America because, you know, that's just what you do.
Yeah. I just need to figure out myself.
Yeah, no.
I
I'm so confused.
Right.
Yeah. No, totally.
I'm going to go to
In all
South
honesty,
America.
yes.
Yeah.
And then, I just ended up living in Australia for a while and building acoustic guitars. Which
Are you
was
serious?
great.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa. Wait, now is that, let me ask you this. Like, did you go to Australia with the intention of doing this, or did that just somehow happen?
Yeah. I was very, I don't want to use naive as a word, but I was very just like, I'm going to get this job. Like, they did not offer it to me before going. They were not very like, you know, they're like, we don't have a spot for you. And I was like, I'll get it. So I just, I moved to Melbourne, Australia, and this company called Maton Guitars.
What's it called again?
Maton?
Maton.
Yeah.
How do you spell that? Matten?
Maton.
Oh, Maton. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right.
They just make these amazing guitars, and I was like, that's the one. I'm gonna work there. I don't care how. I don't care who, when. So I just went in, and I was like, I'm here.
No shit.
And they gave me a job. God bless. I mean, I don't know how I did that. I'm like, I'm still shocked to this day. But yeah, that was such a great experience, and all I wanted to do was work with guitars.
Yeah.
That was just my whole life.
Was that the thing that hold on, let me we're gonna take like a quick second here. Quick second. This is gonna get edited out for sure because it's gonna drive you crazy. I'm gonna ask this question here in a second. Check your microphone cable. Can you hear that buzz, that hum? Okay, check your microphone cable. Let's make sure like it pull on the cord, make it like taut, you know what I mean?
Like,
yeah, kind of like just to see. It could just because the levels are super high right now.
I feel like I heard that before.
Oh, you were hearing it before?
Yeah.
But it also is dead silent right now. Okay.
Oh, wait, you can't hear me?
No. I can hear you. I can just hear this buzz that's happening. Can you hear it in your headphones?
I can, yeah.
I feel like I've had this happen before in the show, but when I go to edit, the buzz is gone, but I just want to make sure.
I
And
don't
this
deal
is
with this.
this is gonna this is I know. This is I feel like this is the thing that your husband would know all about and everything to be able to kind of
why is he not here?
Wait, are we still in?
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, am I? I don't know if I am.
You're in.
Oh,
you can
okay.
hear me.
Yeah.
Right? I can hear
Yeah.
you. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. That I'll edit all that.
Okay.
out. You see what I mean? See
Yeah.
how that can kind of go or whatever
Yeah.
like that. Because that buzz is you know why? Because it's on. This is direct. Let me do this here real quick. How are you level wise? How you feeling level wise?
Oh, I think I'm good. I mean, I hear
Good.
you good.
It's a lot
Yeah.
more fun when you get it like this though. When you're like in the headspace.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is good.
How does that feel?
Yeah.
There we go.
Feel good.
Oh, I just figured out a little fucking trick with this
Well,
thing.
there you go.
Look at that. I'm learning.
Look at you. Look at
I
you
know.
go.
I know. I'm figuring this out. This is the part I hate about all this shit because I want to be a host of a thing and do the talent and talk to you guys and talk
Yeah.
to my friends. I hate all the other, like it's one of
No,
those.
you don't want to deal with it.
No, I don't want to deal with it
much.
at all. No. It's one of those things where it's this is an amazing thing to me as a musician, creative person, whatever. And there's certain people that we've met along the way, like out here. And one of the things I've always noticed is that there's some people who are like, ooh, do not put me in front of the camera. I don't want to be, I want to work on the technical things. And I go, for me, which is weird, is I get scared about the technical stuff. Like if you were to put me in charge of audio and effects, I would freak the fuck out.
So you're an actor.
I think that's why.
You know, you're like
I have
peasants.
No, I think it's just, it's
I'm
something
kidding.
like, I think it's like somewhere where my brain goes where
No, you're more creative. You're more.
there's
you
more
wanna do-
responsibility with that I
well,
go, I'm not that smart.
Yeah. Well, I think you are, but like it's all just about what you're interested in. Like,
That's true.
If you don't think that's like Dario loves this stuff. Like he thinks
Right.
it's really interesting. He'll watch videos about it and like you know.
He is like that,
nitty-gritty.
yeah.
But I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I never really. If it's about guitars and stuff, I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But like amps, never did amps.
Right,
So I'm like,
I know.
Can't,
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah,
you
too
know?
much like when you start getting into the technical things
Yeah.
of everything, that's when I start to kind of go like, no, I'd rather not know how it works. I just wanted to know that,
know.
like, I'd rather, but then it's just like that different type of part of your brain or whatever. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like
No,
that's
totally.
kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And then just make sure that you're gonna have to be on that microphone a little bit better.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what? Are you comfortable with leaning back like that?
Well, I think I'm gonna go. I kind of move a lot, but I
Right.
can stay here.
Dip it towards you a little, like turn it this
Okay.
way. Yeah, like that. Try
Like
that real
that?
quick. And I
Is
want to
that
make
good?
sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Keep talking. And then
Okay.
we're going to get back into
Okay.
everything.
Hello.
Because we left off of, where the fuck did we leave off of?
Oh, I don't know.
What did we leave off of? Maton?
Yes.
Maton?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Maton.
Maton Guitars.
Yeah.
You're in South America.
Well, yes.
That's in South America, correct?
No, that's in Australia.
Or no, that's in Australia.
Yeah.
Wait, I got lost here.
Well, I backpacked in South America.
Right.
And then I moved to Australia without knowing if it was going to work out or not.
With this company.
Yeah, and I ended up getting.
And you
the
showed
job.
up and they were like, oh, hey, you're here?
Yeah.
And
They're like, what the fuck?
and you're like, I want to build guitars.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
And then like, was this like a thing? Like, this is what's interesting to me is because I like music and guitars but there is something I think with just musicians in general, we are a little bit crafty as far as like, I build shit all
Super
the time, like around the house.
Yeah.
Like I want to figure out how it works, like working with wood. Was there like an aha moment or a thing that made you go, I want to do this specifically to build guitars and...
Well, because I started out as a guitar tech. So I started
okay.
repairing guitars when I was like 16, 17. So, you know, like I said, I'm from a small town. We had like 2 music stores, right? Rival music stores. And I ended up going...
like the football teams.
Seriously.
West Side Heights sucks.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go with this one. I never know. And yeah, I ended up, you know, being an apprentice for one of the, I think, best guitar techs in Sweden. And, you know, I was just really lucky that he took me under his wing and he really, you know, taught me everything. And
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I always grew up wanting to like fix stuff that was broken.
Really?
That was always like a thing. I'm like, oh, like, let's just fix it. Like, you know, because we never bought new stuff.
Oh,
So we
I
always
see.
fixed stuff
I see what you
whenever
mean.
broken. We didn't buy new stuff.
I do the same thing with like shitty furniture on the side of the road here in LA.
Oh, the best.
You're like, oh, I can fix that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can soup that.
Oh,
I can
think that about everything.
let me
I'm
just
so
sand
naive.
it. Let me just paint it. And
Yeah.
we're cutting corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So it kind of stems from that.
I think so. And, you know, like I said, I, you know, started doing that and just really got into it. And I was like, you know, I played in a band at the same time and was never really, I knew that I didn't have that artist drive in me. Like I was never
okay.
gonna be an artist,
Yeah.
you know, on a professional level.
Or even maybe like a guitar player, a session guitar player, or
Yeah.
a backing musician, or a band member guitar player.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I could have, but I just had this other passion that I was like, I need to do this in my life. And, you know, found this guitar craft program and I was like, I want to build them. I don't want just repair. I need to build them from scratch.
No
And
shit.
yeah, it just ended up being, you know, a really amazing journey. And I did that for a long time. And, you know,
Yeah.
because I'm older than you
Right.
think. Maybe or not. Maybe I do look really old. I don't know.
Oh, no, not at all. No,
But,
no. And we will not
yeah.
disclose the information right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. No, but that's what I find really fascinating because, like, especially as being a musician and a guitar player, I know a little bit about guitars, how to handle them myself.
Yeah.
Kind of like if how I have a car, so I should know how to maybe just do an oil change.
Right. Well,
Change the strings, check the action, whatever, like just the bare minimum, the bare bones. Right. But you went into this whole world where you were like, I want to build something from scratch.
Yeah.
And like, was it learning? Because for the people who don't know out there, like, or people who are looking into, that's the one cool thing about what we do out here and why I'm doing this show is because that's the really, really cool thing is you can get into so many different avenues as a craft. Like what I was talking to you about before about like, look, if I'm going to be the talent and I'm going to be in a band, I would want to hire a guitar tech to worry about all that. I don't want to worry about all that. I have to worry. You don't have enough time to, you got to compartmentalize enough as it is.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, people can go like, oh shit, like I'm good with my hands. I'm smart.
Right.
I can figure out like, how do they do that with like the Guitar Craft Academy? They teach you, these are the dimensions. This is the protocol. These are the types of woods. This is what you need to know to be a professional.
Yeah.
How does that pan out? Like,
For me, it was really good to just learn the fundamentals of everything. And like, we had woodworking, we had electronics, just like doing setups and whatever repairs and all that. Like it was literally every part of the guitar that you were learning. And when I moved on to actually work in the field, I could pick it up so quickly.
Right. Yeah.
Even though we learned actually how to build electric guitars, and then I moved on to building acoustics, which is very different. But
it's very, very different.
It is. It's a whole thing. But I just, I ended up just picking it up really quickly, and it was great. But then I moved on to.
Then you moved on
to a desk job.
To a desk job, the music. We'll definitely like get into that. Let me ask you. I'm like really, really fascinated because the acoustic guitar is such an old instrument. It's such an old instrument, but it seems like if you were to say, "Hey, Michael, build one," I'd be like, I don't even fucking know where to begin.
Yeah.
It seems like kind of complicated.
It is. It's a lot of steps.
It's like the body's got to be what, like 3 pieces, and then there's like a lot of little pieces. If you ever look inside an acoustic guitar, it looks like the inside of a scaffolding, like a building. And I'm like, did you learn how to do all that and go, oh, this is, or is there any like cool history of like how they figured out dimensions? Like this is the perfect size.
Don't ask me. I wouldn't know that.
Yeah,
someone way smarter than me figured that out. But no, but
like this is why it works. I don't know.
I mean, obviously all guitar brands do it differently. And that's what creates the unique sounds of what, a Martin guitar or a Gibson guitar or whatever it is. Because they just have their own process of things. But I actually worked at 2 different guitar companies down there, and they did things very differently. I worked for a company called Cole Clark Guitars as well, and they actually did the neck and the body together. So they built it all as one
piece of wood.
Well, not quite, but they put it together. They didn't do like a body and a neck and then put it together.
Okay.
They did it more of like, all, like in the beginning of the process, they put it together. So it's a different process in that sense.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
But when you work at a factory, it's very like my job was I built the body and then I prepped the body with binding or whatever was involved in that, sanding and all that stuff. And then I also did final sand before I went to paint. Usually you don't, if you're not a master builder, you don't end up doing like everything, right? When you work at a factory.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
So, I got really good at those parts, but there's people that are way better than me doing, the neck and doing all that paint and, all that kind of stuff. Right. And doing like woodwork from scratch, like getting the actual log and like doing it,
That's
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's so much that goes. There's so much that goes into making like one guitar. I mean, nowadays, I've seen videos on like YouTube, like I'm sure anybody else has. There's like, I'm fascinated by the process a little bit, and to where I go like, just because you want to see like the final product of your guitar, but I'm like, to figure that out from the get-go.
Yeah.
And when you look at like old models and you look at like the history of the guitar, like I teach classes and I've seen like, or I've like looked up stuff to inform students like, hey, this is how this happened. Like even when you just learn about Les Paul going, oh, we have the first electric guitar.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait a minute, that was less than 100 years ago.
Right.
Or is it 100 years ago now? When was Les Paul around?
Don't ask me
40s,
about
30s?
history.
Yeah. But to me, I'm just going like, so you learned one little part
Yeah.
of how to put the body together on an acoustic guitar,
Right.
top, bottom. Those are separate pieces, right?
Well, so basically,
Because then you have the framing.
yeah, so you get the sides. So
Okay.
basically what happens is, I mean, there's a lot of parts that goes into it, but like say the sides, for example, you get, a blank piece of wood that woodwork gives to you and it's ready to go into the side press. So,
Okay.
It's a hot press that creates the curve on the sides. So that's one person doing that.
Okay.
And that's a whole thing.
That.
But then, and then that goes back to bodybuilding and, you put the back and the top on and you put the sides and you have to, clamp it together and do all
Yeah.
that stuff. And, it's.
Are you doing the clamping? Do you know how to do all that?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And how long does that have to sit for?
I think because it's such a streamlined process, you do however many guitars you do a day and you do, you do that process, you clamp them all up, you glue it together and then you leave that for a day and then you pick up the ones you did yesterday and you declamp
Oh,
and then
I got you.
So, it's a process.
Different guitars are in different stages, like for one day of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you had to learn how to do all that. That's like,
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Yeah.
that's fucking bananas. Like,
yeah. I mean, now, like, I work in an office and, I do completely different things. And I think back to the days where I was like sanding away and just like really getting dirty and like, into it.
there's something therapeutic about that.
Oh, it's the best.
You kind of,
yeah.
it's like that Karate Kid wax on, wax off, like sanding the
It's
fence.
amazing.
Like you kind of get a chance
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like kind of decompress or whatever like that. And like you've done, how long did you do that for?
So I was in Australia for a year,
Mhm.
and then
Knocking on their door going, hey, let me in.
basically,
And they were like, okay.
they were nice enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before that, I did teching for like 6 years.
Oh, okay.
So I had a pretty long career doing that. Honestly, at the end of it, I was just like, I need to mentally do something else, and also my body's kind of like, you need to do something else. Like it is
Right.
hard. It's hard work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to do something different, and I wanted to come back to LA as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
It is definitely one of those parts of the profession of being. I've seen it with film and TV all the time where they talk about it a lot. At least last year I remember seeing, like, hey, like the fucking editors, the fucking producers, the fucking coordinators, the people who don't give enough credit that put a lot of work
Yeah.
into,
Absolutely.
if you're a guitar tech and you're helping out so-and-so to make
Yeah.
sure they have a great show, you're changing strings, you're making sure it's in tune,
Yeah.
stuff like I remember I saw a thing one time. I think it was like, I'm sure you know about like the rig rundowns on YouTube. That little, do you not know about
No.
this? Oh my God, you might like it.
Okay.
You might like it. Okay, so there's this thing on YouTube. It's called Rig Rundown. And you can look up like, I don't know, like AC/DC Angus Young's Rig Rundown or like
Oh.
Green Day or like Muse
That's
or
cool.
like the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And like the guitar techs walk you through like what they do for a show and how they handle each band member's or that particular guitar player's instrument.
Yeah.
So it's like a really kind of like cool educational thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's so much fucking work that this one person does.
Yeah. And then there's so many other people doing.
a
You
pla-
couldn't do it without them.
No, exactly.
No
and you're
chance.
like, there's so much work in it, and they don't get like enough credit. That's what
Yeah. I mean,
blows my mind.
I think, most people don't need that credit. Like most people are just kind of
Sure.
happy doing what they
Right.
want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think, these tours, like all the stuff of in music
Mhm.
would not happen without
if it wasn't for
all these people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, not happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Producers and all these people, like, yeah.
Because I think the other thing, did you do a lot of this stuff? This might be like, this is why I think you should check it out. You might like it, because I would watch like rig rundowns of somebody going like, what's a good example? Like, I think it was like the Black Keys. You should check that out, because it would be like, because Dan finds like the most piece of shit guitar that's like old, not up to date, from the 60s or the 50s or the 40s.
Right.
And then the guitar tech goes, I have to figure out how he can handle this live.
Yeah.
Whether it's foaming the pickups, I don't know, I'm guessing.
Right.
Like things that we don't think about that
Yeah.
are super vitally important.
Yeah.
To
And
people.
live is completely different as well. Like, I didn't do
yeah.
a lot of live work, but
okay.
because I usually, I would be in a shop and get, when people came in and they needed refrets or they needed whatever.
Fret dressing.
Yeah, all that.
For those
all
who
that
don't
good
know,
stuff.
what's a fret dressing?
So
It's made by Thousand Island or Wishbone. The fret dressing, you put it on your salad. Is that the same thing?
Oh.
No, I'm just making a dad joke. Sorry. It was stupid.
that's why I
The
just
fret-
went,
Whoop, right.
yeah. Kind of allergic to those.
To
FYI.
the dad jokes? Oh, they're the best.
I
they're
get
the
too much of those at my current work, so I'm like,
Oh, you do? Oh.
my boss just like, he is number one dad.
He's the number one
Yeah.
dad joke teller? Okay. My thing is, the more uncomfortable and worse they are, my favorite. They're my favorite.
Oh, you would love
yeah.
each other then. Yeah.
I probably, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, you know my boss, Ed.
Oh, I do. Casper's dad?
Yes.
One of my
Yeah.
students. Yeah, there you go. Okay,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go. Yeah. We should tell dad jokes then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I made a post recently where I did a dad joke where I'm playing a guitar part and it's on a fuzz pedal, and I was like, someone called the fuzz dad joke like that. I had to.
See,
I had to.
Yeah,
I have to get it. Wait, do you not like it, or does it just go over your head?
I think it's like too easy that I'm like,
It's too on the
I like
nose.
miss it because it's too easy. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it's a language barrier, completely honest.
Is that what
Like,
it is?
Well, because sometimes I think like dad jokes is more of a thing here, maybe.
It's an American thing for sure.
Right?
Yeah, it is because it's super
Yeah.
cheese. It's super,
Yeah.
and I'm one of those, like, the more cheese it is and the
Yeah.
worse it is, I'm
Yeah.
like, the more I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
So sometimes I'm just like, oh shit, well, haha,
like, I guess that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't
You know.
know. Maybe I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm one of those weird, awkward humor kind of
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the.
That's something that's very different here from Sweden. We have a different humor.
Do you guys have any kind of awkward humor? Well, I mean, it's a language thing too. So
It's-
whatever
of
works for
course.
you is not going to work for.
Well, yeah, but then it's also it's all sarcasm. It's all,
You're
irony.
sarcastic? No.
And-
I've known you for some time, and you've always been a straight. Like,
yeah, straight shooter. Yeah.
no, but that's the thing, though. So, okay, so there's the connection right there, because you are really good. I know you're from Sweden and everything, but you are really good at sarcasm. You are. So you're
Right.
probably more American than you think you are, or
Well,
at least
I
it's
think-
more universal than we think it is.
Well, I think maybe it's a different sarcasm because
True,
I
that's a
think
good
there
point,
is
yeah.
like there is an opinion going around that Americans miss the irony in things sometimes.
Oh, okay.
But maybe it's just a different irony.
right.
you
That's,
know?
yeah.
I think maybe that's what it is. But
Oh, okay.
it's yeah. I think we're also very like we like to take the piss out of each other and like
What?
some people get offended easily.
But you know what? I'm from Ohio.
Right.
Okay, so then maybe that makes sense of like.
yeah, maybe.
Why we get along. For those who don't
Mm-hmm.
know, her husband is Dario Comuzzi, who was on episode 2, who is an Italiano kind of a guy.
Yeah.
And I'm half Italian. I'm like Olive Garden Italian, but still. Still counts in
Yeah,
some regard.
well-
But it's, and I've told this to people because it's like, there are some people I've met from LA, and people from LA are great. There's all kinds of walks of life and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there is like, I have the East Coast mentality of where my friends and the people I end up getting along with are the ones who are not kissing your ass and being super nice all the time. It's more people who are taking the piss out of you.
Yeah, because that's love.
And yes, and kind of bringing you
Right?
back down. Like that's kind of what I
Yeah.
grew up with. It's
Yeah.
just like any girl I've ever dated or some of my closest friends to this day, where it's just like, look, we know we love each other. but I'm going to make fun of you.
Yeah.
Just know that.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of fun about it. But it's like, but if somebody else gets in the mix, then you're like, no, we all get together.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we make fun of each other, not you.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
Right.
the kind of like the difference.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like the similarity. I didn't know that about the Swedish culture.
Yeah.
That
I
it's
mean,
like, do you feel like that? Is that like specifically where you're from, or is it like?
No, I think, from traveling quite a bit, I think when you meet other people and you start joking around or whatever, like there are always certain nationalities that I feel I click with. It's always the Brits. It's always the Aussies. It's always, like it's always the same, like Canadians to some extent as well. Like it's always like kind
their
of the
reputation is
same.
being nice.
Well, yes, but like they can also still like joke around. But yeah, they are
Right.
very, very nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have to be sorry all the time. You're good.
I'm sorry about that. I know my old roommates were Canadian, and I'd walk into the apartment and they'd be like, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, about what?
Yeah.
I just got here.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, maybe I did something.
Yeah. Just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah. But I mean, Aussies are like, that's also like a huge contrast, I think, coming from a factory and like having, the language that's in there. And, I was, one or two girls out of 70 people.
Oh, it's like a boys club.
It's a boys club, but at the same time,
tough.
They're just the loveliest people and they're so open. And I mean, I don't know if you know a lot of Aussies, but like they're just always so welcoming. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they are.
Who you are. It's just like they'll have a beer with you at any time. They're like,
They're they are very like warm people.
Yeah, but they also take the shit out of each other. Like they are.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that with the Aussies.
But it's always with love, So I kind of
exactly.
like came from that and then moved back to America and I was like, oh, right, I need to reset a bit because it's not the same.
It's not the same out here.
No.
There's something in LA.
Well, yeah, maybe that's
I think it's LA.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's and also we're dealing with a plethora of different types of nationalities, different types of people.
Which is great.
It is great, but you have
It's a lot to navigate.
It's a lot to navigate. Well, and I don't know. Do you feel like, okay, maybe I wonder if you're like me, where I've had incidences where, okay, I can be very sarcastic and very dry.
Yeah.
And to maybe somebody like you or any one of our other friends or whatever, they go like, oh, they know I'm kidding.
Yeah.
And there have been times where I've been told from people where they've had to go, by the way, I had to tell so-and-so that you were kidding because they thought you were fucking serious about some stupid shit that I said. And you're like, really? I thought that was obvious that I was kidding. And they're like, nope.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever had anything.
100%. Yeah. And every time I'm just like, what? Like, shit, and
I was kidding.
Right?
Did you not catch that? And they're like, because you sell it with like a straight face.
That's why I always thought that in America, because I've only lived in LA in America, so I don't know anything else.
There's that then.
Yeah. So
you haven't experienced the rest of the country too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my only experience is here that maybe, sometimes people take a joke as you're serious. And it's like, well, shit, I'm not like, and it becomes this whole thing and you're like, oh, fuck, but,
No, I know that it is a thing I've noticed about it too. Like, and a lot of people have like, and it's weird because the people that I've met that are from LA, it's a very small amount. I've met so many people from everywhere else.
You always think they're lying. You're like, you're not from LA. What do you mean from LA? Nobody's from LA.
But they are. They're here.
Actually,
they're amongst us. They are here. And
they're out in the wild.
Wait, hold on. We got way off.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay. That's my fault. I'm a bad host. I'm fucking this all up and everything. No. We were on building of the guitars. We were on that. And then I had a question. Because it was about putting together the body of the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And you were doing this in Australia, knocking on their door going, hey,
yes,
I'm here.
Yeah.
Hire me.
Yeah.
This is the boys club, 72 people or whatever, or 70 people.
Yeah.
And you're just in there going like, I'm building fucking acoustic guitars.
Right.
And how long did you do that for though?
So like a year.
Just a year?
Yeah.
In Australia?
In Australia, I was a year. So they're gracious enough to give you what's called a working holiday visa in Australia. If you're from certain countries. I don't know which ones, but if you're from Sweden, you can get one. So I just kind of took my chances and I went down. I had a couple of friends down there. And yeah, I mean, it was great. And I think, gave me a great boost in my career and
Yeah.
to just kind of be like, I can actually do whatever I set my mind to.
Yeah.
However cliche that sounds, but yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, I will say I was never treated differently because I was a woman, which was also refreshing.
Right.
Because you would think you're kind of bracing yourself for like, okay, this is a boys' club. Something's gonna, I'm gonna be treated differently. They're gonna, say something to me. They're gonna do something.
Right.
But never, ever, ever happened.
No shit.
So yeah.
So you just felt like I'm welcomed in right from the get.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear. Like, that's the kind of like news we can like.
Yeah, but it's also a country where they'll go like, oh, I can't, and that's fine. So, people don't take, offense.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
How that is very weird. That
Yeah.
they're more welcoming, but they'll say something that over here they're like, oh, you can't say that word.
Yeah. Nobody will say you can't say that in Australia.
Over there, yeah.
Because
isn't it Australia? Isn't it kind of a word that's more like hey, motherfucker?
Well, yeah,
it's a word like that, right?
It's more offensive for them if you say mate instead of saying cunt. Because if you're a mate, it's like,
I see.
Like you're a mate, like
how bros are out here.
It's kind
hey,
of like
bro.
I mean,
bro,
I'm
bro.
like
I don't know.
trying to find an example now, but if you say like, oh, he's a mad cunt or like sick cunt.
Yeah.
Can I say these words?
I think so. I think it'd be okay.
It means like you're sick, like sick motherfucker.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. Is cunt like motherfucker to them?
Yeah, it's great.
It's totally fine.
Yeah, and you're like, oh.
Well, because here's the thing about motherfucker is we'll see if this episode makes it on YouTube,
well,
but
we'll see.
we'll see. We'll figure it out. I don't fucking know. I feel like it depend. Does it depend in Australia? If it's because motherfucker is a great word because depending on the situation you're in, you can be like, hey, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, that's my friend. Like, hey, you're a motherfucker.
Mm.
Or in music, as we've learned being musicians, like,
Yeah.
that guy's a motherfucker.
Right.
Or take the music out of the situation, take your friend out of the situation, and it's like, oh, hey, do you know Bob? And Bob's a douchebag or something, or, whatever. And you're like, yeah, that motherfucker?
Yeah.
Depending on how you're saying it.
Yeah, of course.
Is it the same thing with cunt?
I think so. Yeah.
Like, depending on how it's getting used, you got to be able to
Totally.
figure, like, it can be a good thing,
Yeah.
or it can be a total bad. Like,
yeah. It's
he's
100% that. Yeah.
he's a cunt. Like, fuck
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that motherfucker. Like,
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, and then you come here and you're like, oh, I can't say that word. Like, it's
Right.
completely,
It is. Well, and that's the thing. I think Jim Jeffries got very famous. He's a Australian comedian, and he's got like his own show, and he's got a bunch of stand-up specials. And he makes a joke in one of his specials, where they're like, "Oh, you're a comedian? Like, what are you known for? Like, what do you do?" And like, I think it's said as like a parent-teacher thing, like where parents are getting together at his kid's school, and he's like, "Oh, what kind of comedy do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, like you wouldn't like it, like whatever." And they're like, "Well, what do you like? Come on, like And then he goes, I'm known for saying cunt more than anybody. Like,
shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he got like known for, or whatever. Because yes, here in our country, it's not a thrown about. I'm really interested to see what's gonna happen with this now. Like if I put it, no, I don't think anybody's gonna flag it down or whatever like that. I don't know.
Well,
you can say whatever you want on the internet, right?
I mean,
I think so.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Anyway, but okay.
You can cut this whole part out.
No, I don't know. I don't want to. It's actually pretty fucking funny and everything.
Yeah.
Well, but also the other thing too is again, it's like with the cultures and like where you're coming from with Sweden and living in Australia. So you've been like kind of like diversified pretty well, and like and we have a lot of diversity in this city, which is great.
Yeah.
And especially with being like creative. Well, that's the other thing too is I'm from small town Ohio, and there is a different mentality there to where. When you move out here, it's a refreshing, nice feeling of, oh my God, there's so many like-minded people like me that I can be a sarcastic asshole around and they get it.
Right.
And they're not so reserved and like, whatever, or we talk about the same things like guitar building, music, things that
anything goes.
Anything goes.
Yeah.
But then you're kind of also like, oh shit, there are so many people like me. You start to blend into the back of the curtain.
Yeah.
Did you ever have like that kind of a feeling? Maybe?
Not really, because I felt really you know, like growing up and you become, you know, I dress like glam rock, like very, you know, hair up to here, I
Right.
had, you know, the leopard tights and, you know, all the stuff.
Were you like Madonna or David Lee Roth or
Molly Crew and Guns N' Roses, all that stuff was my jam.
Just big hair.
So
Did you have the big hair?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and I had the extensions, like black hair, like, you know.
You had black hair?
Yes, I had black hair. And, you know, the hairspray, you know, I went through hairspray once a week, you know, like it was just, you know, that was the life. And
Right.
I always, you know, in my hometown, like people, like now it's different with tattoos and stuff, but like, you know, it was just very frowned upon growing up. So,
yeah.
you know, I was just, but saying that, there was a lot of musicians, a lot of people look the same. So like I found my group of people, but
Right.
you know, in everyday life, you would sit on the bus and be like, you know,
or they look
people
at
look
like,
at
oh,
you
yeah.
and all this stuff. And so I always felt like a misfit. And then I came to LA for the first time and I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, I feel like this is where I belong.
Yeah.
So I've always had that feeling when I come here.
That's at least that's good. Though.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's like you're like, okay, I can
Yeah.
be who I am.
Yes.
And there are so many people that are just like me,
Yeah.
which is you're like, I'm not going to be judged.
Yeah, you can be whoever you want to be in LA.
I know that's it. No, that's right.
And it's amazing. And you can, you know, do whatever you want to do and nobody's going to judge you for it.
No.
Yeah.
That's the beauty about this city.
Yeah.
Real quick. I know I mentioned to you this before, but I am going to have to pause myself for a second and take a bathroom break
Okay.
for a second. Hang tight. Everything's going to get recorded. This will all be edited out.
Okay.
Damn it.
All right. Isn't it weird, like, these days when you don't have your phone on you and you just sit and...
How you doing? You holding up okay?
Yeah, but you know, it's like you realize how dependent you are on your phone.
Oh, my God.
And you just look at your phone all day.
Yeah.
Like a weirdo.
A couple of years ago, girlfriend and I'm back, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
That's the cool thing about doing this all DIY in the COVID situation
Yes.
that we have going on.
It's Rona.
I know you can do your own show and edit it and put it together however you wish you please. That's why like nothing goes, like or anything goes.
Yeah.
Whatever. You're mentioning about not having your phone because thank you, by the way, that we're using your phone
Oh, that's totally fine.
as one of my cameras. The other thing too, it does put you in this like one of the things I noticed about a lot of other podcasts is that they do people don't have their phones on them anyway, or they shut them off,
Right.
because then it
It would
forces
be
you to
weird if they weren't
stay.
on them.
Yeah, it forces you to stay in the moment, and not get
Yeah.
distracted by text messages.
Yeah.
But it is weird to
Yeah.
not. You're like,
I know.
oh, I don't. Oh.
Because you realize, like, every moment that you're not doing something, you're on your phone.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Have
And
you,
this has only been like the last few years.
have you ever looked at your screen time thing
I
on the
don't want
settings?
to. That's
You never do
horrible.
that?
I mean, especially in COVID.
Like what the average is? I looked at mine the other day.
I don't want to know.
I don't know. It was like 3.5 hours.
That's not too bad.
I didn't think it was too bad.
That's not bad.
I thought it would be worse. I literally, because I feel like I'm on my phone all the goddamn time.
I am.
And
I
I'm-
literally am.
I mean, like, you should.
I'm on that or my computer,
Right, I know.
which is like you're staring into screen at all times.
all the time. It's either TV, phone, computer, iPad. It's
Yeah.
too much. Yeah.
I know.
A couple years ago, out here in Los Angeles, California, I got robbed with a girlfriend
shit.
that I was dating at the time, and we lived in a not so nice area.
Mm.
It was on Normandy, and for anybody who
Ah.
knows Normandy,
Yeah.
Normandy's weird because
Mhm.
Normandy has like every block. This is what's weird about LA. It's in Los Feliz area, and it's like literally the top part of the block is like nice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then the next block is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next block is like, get the fuck out
Yeah.
of here. And then the next
for your
block is
life.
like, you're gonna get fucking robbed, and that's
Right.
what and that's
so
where
why
I
did you go there?
I know.
That's where we lived.
That's where we lived. That's where I had to pay fucking rent. And, and it was after a gig at Hotel Cafe.
Shit.
Okay, so like the gigging life that we don't get to do now
Yeah.
is I did a gig at Hotel Cafe. For anybody, if things ever get back on point and Hotel Cafe is there, it's one of those great little small
Yeah.
places in LA that
Amazing.
it just has like some magic
It's
to
a
it.
vibe.
And you're so close.
Yeah.
You can hear a
Great
pin,
music.
You can hear a pin drop in that place. And that's what I love about it. It's so intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can catch
Yeah.
anybody there. And especially the people they get from out of town, they get a lot of great acts that
Yeah.
come
Because
through.
LA people suck.
Yeah, we don't like going to our own shows. That's what we don't do.
Yeah. I hope people change after this and they actually come
Be a little
out
bit
to
more
shows.
grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like actually
yeah.
like come out
That's
to
what
things.
I know. To be like, because now I
Because I feel like
before,
we're
how many
just
times
like,
you're like, oh, I'll catch the next one.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that you do that all the time.
Yeah.
So I know, like I was doing a gig at Hotel Cafe and we get done late at night. And where this spot was on Normandy was, luckily the street had like a little corral area where, it's like, that the lines go sideways like this, where you can't park there, but you can park your car for like a second.
Right.
And the sidewalk curves. So there's like this little pocket, right? So that was a great spot to like unload gear.
Right.
And there's only street parking at this apartment complex I lived. Like I said, I was on a budget. And so park the car in the little corral area, load all the equipment in, thank God, because I've had my equipment stolen out here. Learned the hard way. Like everybody goes through that like at least once, I swear.
So shitty.
It is. And it happens a lot out here, or it did for a while. And I get all the equipment loaded in, and my girlfriend at the time, so she's in the car. I'm in the, I get the equipment in, and we get in the car and we go look for parking, which it at like 1 o'clock in the morning, it's a bitch. Like there's nowhere to find a spot.
Oh, I remember the days without a parking spot.
You're hunting.
Yeah.
You're hunting. So we're hunting for a spot for like 20 minutes, finally find a spot. And
5 miles away.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Like, and you're walking
right.
back to your apartment and everything. You're like, okay, thank God that's over with. We are literally probably, I don't know, like 100 feet, maybe 150 feet away from the apartment door. Like it was like we were at the apartment complex and the front door was over there. And we're talking like arm in arm. I got her like in my arm like this. And then all of a sudden, just like this guy who walked right up. And you know how when somebody's walking with you on the sidewalk, you walk like past each other.
Yeah.
This guy just started. I'm like, is this guy coming towards us? Sure enough, he did. He had a mask on before it was COVID. So you're like, anybody out with a mask, you're like, what the fuck? And he pulled out a fucking gun on us. Pulled out a gun. To this day, I don't know whether or not it was real or not, because that was one of the things. It doesn't matter, because you can make a toy gun look like a real gun easily, because some guns can be like that plastic material. Yeah. But nonetheless, he pulled out a fucking gun, and he was just like, give me your wallet, give me your phone. And we're like, okay. So I give him the phone. She gives him the phone. I give him my wallet. She hands over her wallet and everything. And then he just took off, because that's just like the best. And I was just like, my heart was racing, because I've never been like held at gunpoint before.
No, that's crazy.
And then we walked into the apartment. I want to make sure like she was okay and I was okay, like just to kind of like decompress or whatever. Yeah. And I get in the apartment. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to call the police?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, we don't have anything.
Yeah.
So we go to like the 7-Eleven, call the police, make the report and everything. And because of the phone company or whatever, like the insurance, the shit that I had to do, I didn't have a phone for like a week. And you go through that withdrawal for like the first 2-3 days where you're like, oh my God, I don't have my phone. I don't have my phone. I don't have my phone. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you just hit this nice, good, cushy wave of like, I don't have my phone. And it felt really good to kind of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was really.
You should have like a phone detox.
Yeah. If you can do it.
I mean, now it's like, these days it's impossible because you don't have a social life.
No.
Like,
That was one of my things that I was going to like ask you about, especially because, I want to get into the whole thing with the music licensing and everything. Do like, and because, and for those of you watching out there, like, I know your husband really well. We're all good buddies and everything like that. How are you guys? Because before, most of the time, so I would do a lot of gigs with Dario, or he would throw me a gig because he's busy with something else.
Right.
So we were always out and about, like just we're boom, 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 boom. We're doing things. You're doing things and everything. So how have you guys adjusted since the last, I don't know, what's it, March? What the fuck are we in? September? It's like 6 months now. Yeah. Like how has it been different? Like what's been the attitude and the
in our marriage? This is a different type of podcast now.
No.
Let's go. No.
How's everything with you at home? Is he attentive? Does he still listen? Because I'll see him a little bit later and I'll kick his ass. No.
Yeah, thanks.
No. I mean like work-wise. Like work-wise.
Well, no, because it is different. I mean, because, he's obviously a guitarist that plays live.
Yeah, exactly.
But also a composer, a producer, and, he works a lot from home anyways before all this happened. But now it's,
it's all
always
home.
working from home. And I'm working from home as well.
Right.
So, you know, we're both kind of, you know, I have my little desk and I'm working on stuff, and he, you know, he has a studio, and, you know, he works on stuff, and, you know, it's great. Like, you know, I think, you know, we're both in the business of music for visual media. So, you know,
Right.
that's still going to a certain extent. So, you know, we're lucky to be in a part of the music industry that's still going during this time.
Right. Yeah. Do you feel like it's picked up more, maybe?
You know, it's like on a global level, if you look outside of the US, obviously production and stuff has picked up in certain places where,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
it's just a better situation. America is still not really there, but there's still, you know, productions going on. But
Really? Compared to the rest of whatever the
I mean,
rest
I
of the
don't-
world is doing.
yeah, I mean, I don't know like numbers or anything, but I feel like, you know, certain countries have just, I mean, I'm from Sweden, and, you know, our COVID situation is completely different than what,
That's right.
you
Yeah.
know,
You and I were
how
talking
we-
about this like a
Yeah.
couple of months ago, or like a week or a couple weeks ago.
We've just handled it differently than what the US has, and, you know, nothing's right and nothing's wrong. Like it's just different, you know.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So, you know, I think productions there are going, and I know certain productions are, you know, going here, but they definitely just halted everything for a long time. But, you know, there's still stuff going, like, you know, there's podcasts, there's, you know, animation,
Like this one right here.
you know, video games, like there's certain parts of the
Yeah.
industry that's still going.
Well, and also because that's the reason why I was asking about that is because like when I was talking to Dario, I was like, and I've known what you guys have been doing for a long time. And for those of you who don't know out there, so Dario Comuzzi, her husband, who's not here right now, but he might be here soon.
Yeah, I think
He's gonna bombard his way into this.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be funny.
I'm like, where's the beer?
Yeah.
Where's the party at?
Where's he's gonna be like, go. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm sorry. No, he's
Yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
he's a very polite. He's almost Canadian, I would say, unless just the Italian people are just very sorry and polite like that in his nature. No.
Well, you
Or is
know,
that-
I
or-
think it's a mix. Like
little bit of a
going back
mix?
to what we were talking about, like they take the piss out of each other.
They do,
They
yeah, and that's why I think
are-
we got along so well. But he's very courteous. He's very accommodating. He's
yeah.
very like socially aware of like you know,
100%.
kind of apologetic and like that. And that's what
Yeah.
we were talking about was like, because I know he's done so much like music placement. We've done some work together where like, and he's explained certain things to me like about how to set up a song. Because he's such a good music director, what we call in the business an MD, not a medical director, a medical doctor.
All the biz people out
All
there.
the biz people. I confuse the shit out of people all the time when I go MD and they go MD and I go
Yeah.
music director.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're medical doctors. No.
Stop showing off.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Like, oh, this is just how we say it. This is
Yeah.
how we talk in Los Angeles, California.
Hollywood.
In Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just like, let's get some avocado and go to Runyon Canyon. Oh my God. Yeah.
Classic.
Anyway, let's go to Air One. Anyway, which we all live like right around the corner.
Yeah.
No, but it was, and so I figured for what he's doing, and for those of you who don't know there, and this is one of the things I was talking about in the beginning, you're working in music licensing with West One Music Group.
Yep.
And for those who don't know out there, like what exactly is, you know, your job and what you've been able to, like, you've been there for 2 years, you
Yes.
said?
Yeah.
So you've been there for 2 years. How has it changed, like, since COVID? Or is it relatively the same?
I mean, it's very different, but I think, you know, sync licensing, which is music to visual media, is ever changing. It's just a different.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as a music industry as a whole, it's always changing. There's always, you know, just in the last few years, streaming is a thing.
Is that something you guys deal with on a daily basis? Like,
Totally. And like, you know, it's always changing, and, you know, you never really know what's coming at you, and you always have to keep yourself updated with these things. But COVID obviously has been like, you know, they stopped TV production, they stopped film production,
yeah.
you know, which is a huge part of our business. But, you know, then you have to find these other avenues.
Yeah.
Like we work with podcasts, we work with apps, we work with, you know, animation.
And you're
video
saying with
games.
music licensing, your job with West One Music Group is, your job title is technically what?
My job title is music licensing manager.
Music licensing manager. And that means, simply put, a day in a life is you deal with.
Everything and nothing. So
Good night, everybody. That's it.
Yeah. Goodbye.
We deal with everything and nothing.
Yes, that's our business. No, so
Put that on your card.
it's on there.
Martina Comuzzi,
yeah.
everything and nothing.
Yeah, whatever you need, but nothing.
But no, don't hit me up.
Yeah, don't
I
call,
wanna,
don't
no,
text.
I'm not. Yeah, just
Pretty much. So West One is a music library, which is so there's different parts of it. So like a music library, we produce most of our music ourselves. So we'll look at the market and go, what type of music is being used in television shows? What type of music is being used in trailers?
Style-wise.
Okay. Yeah. So, there's always these typical things that are being used, like swagger rock, right? Like the stomp and, all that stuff.
Is that my Black Keys, my home?
Yeah.
Is that swagger rock?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
That stomp and
like a beer commercial?
Yeah. Exactly. And that's still going, And there's also trends, so like that's been a trend for quite some time.
It has been, yeah.
If you look at trailers, covers of famous songs is a
yes,
thing,
I've noticed that.
right?
Yeah.
And that has, that's always changing.
Our friend Matt Jordan just got his cover of Good Vibrations in a movie, Kissing Booth, on Netflix.
Oh, there you go.
Boom, there you go. There's a good example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and like the famous sound effect of Inception, where they used a Brahm.
Oh yeah.
That became a huge thing in the industry as well. And
yeah,
it's an interesting.
Do you refer to it Inception?
Well,
that's your referral, like when you think, or like you guys are at the music.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? What the fuck?
Oh
yeah.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Hold on. We're getting updated even now, but might be a little behind. Okay, that's not you. That's me. That's not for you. That's me.
Oh,
okay.
Damn. You're not taking my messages?
No, well, you did tell your husband to text me, right?
No, I just said just come.
We're gonna see. It's gonna show up.
He's just gonna be like hello.
Like, get in here.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's a party. No. Okay, so that's what I was.
Yeah, there's definitely these like benchmarks in.
Is Inception a benchmark?
Yeah, I think so.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
As far as like a sound of a film and the sounds that they use, were they like one of the first ones? Like, because Christopher Nolan, right?
Right.
He's a very prolific. Like, I've heard this about with The Dark Knight, where they had to find the sound for the Joker, and like I don't know if it was Hans Zimmer's or whoever the crew was.
Yeah.
But those people with music and those sounds that we hear, they're very monumental, like you're saying. So Inception's one of those examples.
I think so. And like, but it's different looking at the trailer and looking at the movie.
That's true.
Because somebody else usually creates the trailer.
Right.
Than who's working on.
And are you talking about the movie, the soundtrack to the movie itself?
I'm talking about the trailer.
You're talking about the trailer.
Yeah.
Now, why is that though?
Because it just became this huge thing in the industry where people went, oh, that's the sound. It's just a perfect
for a suspenseful thriller.
It's just literally one sound. And you can. And
do you know what note it is?
No. I just know the Brahm. And literally people will write that in an email and be like, I'm looking for Brahm.
How do you spell that?
BRAAAAAM.
I would say like BRAUM, like Brahm.
Yeah, I mean, but people will know what you're talking about when you say that.
No shit.
Yeah.
The Brahm sound. I know it. Yeah,
the Brahm sound. Yeah.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
You've heard it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And they were one of like the pinnacle points where like people started going, we're going to steal that sound. We're going to use something like that.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, there's always trends going in whatever, and like in television as well.
Same
like
thing, yeah.
Reality shows. Like I think maybe back in the day they used a lot of like punk and rock and stuff. Yeah. But now it's more, the pop and very like, in your face kind of pop. And
do you have to like approve who gets to use what with being a music licensing manager?
Yeah, so I license our music to our clients.
And your client, like, can you give us an example?
Like for a show?
Yeah, for like a show. Like, and somebody comes to you and they go, hey, Martina, can we use this song? And you go, yep.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So I'm basically the in-between between the composers and the clients.
The show is the client.
Yeah.
The composers, the people
music
who work.
Supervisors or trailer houses or networks, production companies, whatever it is, right? Yeah, I mean, some recent stuff that I was really excited about was the show The Sinner. Do you know the show The Sinner?
I don't know that. No.
It's really good. You got to check it out. It's
I
really
should
good.
check it out. What's it on?
It's on NBC, USA. NBC
Oh, okay.
and USA.
And it's like a drama show or like a reality show?
It's like it's not a reality show. No,
I was gonna
it's,
say that'd be a
it's
cool
scripted.
reality show.
Yeah, no.
Who's the sinner?
Who's the sinner?
Who's the
I
one
mean,
who sinned?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, probably the Catholic.
No, it's really good. It's like it's about these kind of like murder mysteries and
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, it's really cool. Jessica Biel was in the first season.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's really good.
So you're working with the sinner, and they go, "Hey, West One Music Group,
yeah,
we need some shit."
yeah, and that's usually how it goes. So it's all about relationships in this industry, right?
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
it goes for all parts of the industry. So for me, I meet with clients all the time. I'm out and about, and I'm going to networks and doing meetings, and I'm going for coffees, and I'm going for events, and I'm going for this and blah, 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 and now that's just not happening,
Right.
which is so weird.
So how are you able to navigate it differently now?
It's
Just
hard.
through your email.
Yeah.
That's it.
And whoever wants to get on a Zoom these days, which nobody
Right.
really wants to anymore, it's like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's very different. But once you've built those relationships, people trust you and people know that
Yeah.
you know your shit.
So you
So-
have a library,
Yeah.
a virtual library, like as if I were to go into a real library and go, "Hey, I would like to check out a book about murder mystery
Mhm.
or a book about bugs."
Right.
A TV show or a company goes, "Listen, we need some songs
Yeah.
that sound suspenseful for scenes."
Yes.
And you go, "You can use this."
Yeah, pretty much.
That's basically what you're doing.
Pretty much. Yeah. So
And you're allowing them to use it.
yeah. Well,
and-
yeah.
You kind of go, "Okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's interesting because when you go from the production aspect of it and like, okay, what's going to be the new trend? What are people going to want to use? Or like, is this just a thing? Like, for example,
Are you sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, like, for example, Old Town Road
Yeah, okay.
that came out became a huge thing.
Smash hit
and
everywhere.
that makes you wonder, okay, do we need to make country hip hop?
I think that's
That's Dario.
Hold on, I'm gonna sorry folks.
Let in the husband.
Yeah. I think that's wait, it's between two people. Oh, I think that's because it's your number and my number.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so wait. Old Town Road.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you look at that and you go, okay, is this just a trend now? Or is this going to be something that's going to stick for a while, like the Brahm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is country hip hop going to be a thing?
Yeah.
And then you have to kind of debate, okay, do we make this to put into our library or do we not? So it's always that kind of like,
These are the kind of discussions you guys have.
yeah.
To figure out to see and
figure out the
did you come
trends.
to a conclusion with this? Can you tell us the inside scoop of how you guys think? Are you allowed to say this?
Well, I'm not on the production team myself, but I kind of give them input and kind of, from
Sure.
a sales perspective, because I'm in
Right.
sales.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, I think we should do this or I think we should not. I don't think we ever did that. No, I don't think we ended up doing it. And it didn't, and
What, you mean with like something like the country hip hop, the old
yeah,
time?
I mean, ish, we did something ish, but not like, I think we actually did. We did do
Yeah.
something like it, but it kind of, fell off the radar. Now it's not really a thing anymore.
No, it really isn't. But when that did,
Yeah.
that swept by and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't get away from that song.
Right. And it was everywhere.
What
right?
about something like Uptown Funk? Anything like that? Like,
Still,
that's
you
still,
still get requests like that. Yeah.
give me something that sounds like it. Give me something that's that vibe. Give me
Yeah.
something.
Exactly. Because
I
a lot
totally
of
get
times,
that. Yeah,
because,
yeah.
it's so everything has different tiers, right? So, like a song from Bruno Mars can be very expensive
Yeah.
that, the show or a film, they don't have the budget for it. Or it can be a matter of, the song has, I don't know how with Uptown Funk, but any song has like 15 writers on it and 15 publishers on it. And it's just really hard to clear the song for whatever you want it
From
for.
all those 15 people.
Right, because you need to reach out to all these people, right?
Oh, fuck. Jesus.
Or whoever represents them. So with where I work, we're a one-stop library. So that means they only come to us and we clear it and that's it. So it's
Yeah.
very easy,
Yeah.
so that's,
I feel like the thing that I've noticed, the best example I can ever think of is like the Black Keys.
Mm.
And this is what I've noticed in the last, let's say 15, 20 years.
Yep.
When they were not ridiculously big, I remember watching like a show like Entourage.
Mm-hmm.
When Entourage was popular,
Mm.
they would use like Black Keys songs before the Black Keys were enormous.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like, oh my God, that's Black Keys. That's Black Keys. Black Keys. Black Keys. Blah, 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 blah. Right. Then Black Keys got huge.
Yeah.
Now we hear things that sound like the Black Keys as opposed to the Black Keys.
Right.
It used to be Black Keys were everywhere, late 90s, early 2000s, or maybe not even late 90s, but like early 2000s. Yeah. And it was like, oh, we're getting a taste of where music is going, or what we hear in our, I guess like what you're saying, like what the trend is.
Yeah.
What we associate. I mean, and how many great times do you hear like a song in a TV show where you're like, oh my God, what fucking song is this? And you look it up and it's not a hit or it's not that popular, but I get it. Now I get it going, oh, it was a cheap fucking song. It's not Uptown Funk. Right. It's you know, it's the opposite. And then all of a sudden something catches wave, and then my example is the Black Keys. Another good example of that is Kings of Leon, because I don't know if you know this or not, but Kings of Leon were approached by Apple for the iPod. Do you know who ended up getting the iPod commercial song? Are You Gonna Be My Girl, Jet?
Oh, shit.
So they approached Kings of Leon first to say, hey, can we use one of your songs for our new launch of this new product called the iPod? Yeah. And they
just
said,
this little thing.
Right. And you know what they did at the time? They said no. Because they didn't want to be the band. They wanted, they're such a weird, like, they have like their valor of honor or whatever, and they go, oh, no, we're not selling out. They always call themselves like a pocket band. Like they're a cool hipster Silver Lake band, you know, like we're Kings of Leon, we don't sell out. Yeah. And so the song or the band that did it was Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? That song blew up because of the iPod commercial. Yeah. So when I think about that kind of stuff, I go like, I mean, I grew up listening to rock and roll and music. And now what bothers me is I go, as a writer, as a musician, and I've talked to this, you know, with Dario or like other musicians, like going, is this a cool idea or is this my fucking beer commercial library song? Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but it's not.
Like, wait.
I think you're talking about library songs like a bad thing.
No. No, what I mean is it's that swagger blues rock. Has it hit a bubble point where it's like, oh, we know what that sound is?
Well, I think, you know.
I don't mean it as a bad thing.
No,
I just mean because
I know what you mean.
We know it so much now. Like, are you at the point where you look at something like blues swagger rock and go, let's find something else, or is that just something that we just all like and identify with? Well, I guess that's my question.
I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, it works, and people still want it, and you know, we don't. Well, we can kind of curb the market a bit, but you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't. We don't decide what, you know. Right. We just follow what people want from us, really, and you know, put our creative touch to it, and you know, that's what the music industry is, isn't it? Unless you want to go completely like, I'm doing this and I don't care what anybody thinks about that, you know, and it goes how it goes. Right. But you know, that's not the business that we're in. Really.
Is it kind of like trying to predict the weather in a way?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. Like,
but, you know, it's cool because like, as you were saying, like, you know, the sync industry has changed a lot. So like maybe, you know, a few years ago, 10, 20 years ago, it was looked at like, oh, I don't want to associate with this. Like, I don't want to be an artist that's, you know, on an Apple commercial or whatever. Now everybody wants to do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
and like there are certain, like Apple, for example, I think they take pride in breaking bands, and you know, they want that, and I think that's amazing. And I mean, you know, I talk to music supervisors all the time, and they're just so good at finding these amazing artists and nobody's heard of, and just pushing them into this, and then all of a sudden now space. We know it. I mean, that's, you know, that's how people find their music these days, you know, one of the ways. So I think it's pretty cool. Yeah I think also too, and again, I didn't mean to like sound offensive of like bullshit library music. I think it's because I know about this stuff. When you write a song, you go, is this a song or is this something that I can use in a different avenue where you go, this would be better placed as a, this is kind of like what I'm wondering about, like with what you do, like,
because you hear like riffs and you hear things all the time where you're like, that's not a song, but we can use that for something else.
Yeah, totally.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
and
it's a background thing. It's an atmosphere. That's what it is. It's an atmosphere.
yeah, you're setting the vibe to something.
That's
I mean,
what I mean, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen. I went to this. Well, me and Dario actually went to this amazing John Williams concert.
Oh,
at
the
and
Bowl?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, and Steven Spielberg was there, and they showed a clip from Indiana Jones
Oh,
with and without music, and you just realize
how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't without music. It's nothing, and you don't. It's not that you actively think about it when you watch something,
It's
but
in your.
but without it, it would just not be the same.
It's the same, and I don't know if this is globally, or at least we have it in LA, and I think this is what's weird about being a musician and being a creative person is that when you're on the inside and you know what that thing is, it kind of fucks with you.
You look at it differently.
You look at it differently. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're like, there's a good, okay, perfect example. If I'm at Harvard and Stone, it's a bar out here in LA, which I don't know what's going on now, but it used to be. I grew up listening to the Black Keys and like fuzz swagger rock. And then when you live out here and you hear it all the time in beer commercials, or at Harvard and Stone, or it's a Silver Lake thing, or it's the cool thing, you start to go, oh yeah, okay, that's a
Right.
I know what that is now.
Right. Yeah, you associate it with something.
I know it too much of a thing. But then it's like when I think of drinking beer and going out with my buddies, that's what I think of. That's the music I think of.
Exactly.
I want to be put in that vibe.
Yeah.
So if I see a Budweiser commercial or I see a whatever, I kind of want to have that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's what I go. Like, it's such a weird thing being on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And you think about those things.
And are you doing that for your job? Are you constantly going?
That's all we do.
That's all you're doing.
Yeah. I mean,
Every type of vibe, every type of Dove commercial or scene in a reality show or a scene in a TV show. You're
everything.
like, I need to feel this synthetic feeling of what this song or this musician is doing.
I mean, I think one of the key aspects of my job is to understand what I need to know if I'm trying to, get our music on a show, or I'm working with a music supervisor that's asking me for music for that show. I need to understand what the show is about and sonically what it is, like I need to understand.
Do you study a show?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
all the time.
And you sit and you're watching, you're listening.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, I get what this is. This is what I need.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
Go into your library, that kind of a type of thing. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we also, watch trailers, and we do research, we do homework for this stuff, because I feel like it's only fair. Like if I'm pitching our music to someone, I need to know what they're working on. Like, otherwise,
for sure.
It's like, if somebody approached me and wanted something from me, then I would, at least want them to know something, or like, done a little bit of homework. So,
right. Yeah.
So I just think that's important to have an understanding also of the landscape.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, again, it's one of those things that we were talking about before, how much work goes into almost our human psyche.
Yeah.
Of how we feel and think about the sounds that we hear.
Yeah.
With music, being a musician, working in the music libraries. And that was the thing. Like, I mean, because now from meeting you, meeting Dario, meeting a lot of other people, I think about that shit all the time as a writer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's important, coming from a composer's perspective.
Yeah.
It's, people ask me a lot, how do I get into this? Like how, what do I do? I write everything. I work on everything. And it's, I think you can be good at everything, but you're going to excel at something. So you need to know what that thing is. Right. And that goes for everything in life, right?
That's
like
true.
If
you can be good at it.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again?
You can be good at everything, but you're not going to excel at everything, right?
I like that.
Thanks. It's on my card.
Is it on your
No.
Wait, what was the other part on the card? It's the
everything and nothing?
Everything and nothing. Yeah.
Mm.
Give me everything or give me nothing.
Yes.
Like It's like, give me liberty or give me death. Martina's like, give me nothing,
Give me nothing.
but give me everything.
And then
do
walk
you know what I
away.
mean? Like, yeah, and I'm gonna walk.
But yeah, so like as a composer, people usually will just bombard you with all types of different genres and music, and they're like, I write everything, and that's great. But if you're pitching yourself to a music library or to a music supervisor, or if you just want to get into this field in any way, I think you just need to hone in on what your strengths are. So like if you're a great rock writer, do that, and if you find, if you're passionate about that, do that. Don't try and write opera if that's not your thing,
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
So because it shines through, like authenticity.
That's a good tip. Yeah. Because you're going to feel that. And especially because, well, I think maybe a lot of people might think, oh, what the fuck do they know? But you're a person.
About us?
Well, no. Like they're probably thinking, what the fuck? They don't probably fucking know. But you're a musician. You work with a lot of musicians who are in this field.
Yeah.
And they, like you're saying, we can feel the
Yeah.
we can feel this authenticity. So it's don't bullshit us.
Oh, like everyone that I work with, both within my company and people, my clients, all are so passionate about music. And I think that's, it's even if, they're wearing a suit or, whatever.
Right. It doesn't
not full on rock and roll.
Right,
like it's not, people are so passionate about it. And, a lot of my job is paperwork, but you still have that passion for it. And that's, that shines through, all the way.
No, exactly. Yeah. Because I mean, it is a weird thing when you do a job or anything in music where you're working with people who have nothing to know about music.
Yeah.
And you can go, okay, maybe I can get away with this. I can get away with that. But when when it comes to like this with like the music libraries and the music placing, again, it all comes full circle. Because again, when I think about this stuff, this reminds me of being a kid in Ohio and watching TV shows and not ever hearing of a certain artist. I heard of an artist named David Gray once. Because of the show Scrubs. I don't know if you ever heard of that show.
I love Scrubs.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never heard of him, though.
Oh, shit. Okay. It's like in the first episode.
Okay.
And it's a song called Please Forgive Me. And it made me immediately go, who is this?
Yeah.
And I love the fact that when you learn, probably like what you guys do here at like West One Music Group, where it's like, we care about what we're putting out there.
Yeah.
We care about the songs, whether it's just a library swag rock, but it's that vibe and it makes people feel a certain way and it comes from like an influence, or if it's an artist that you go, hey, we can afford this artist, but they're passionate, they're authentic, they're real. Yeah. And you can get in there and go, and again, for me, it was like one of those things where it's like, I learned about an artist that I probably never would have heard of. Yeah. And I didn't know his level. I didn't care. It was just good.
Yeah, it's just good music.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's the beauty of it. I think, you think about libraries or stock music, as some people call it. It's evolved a lot. And I think, the music that you hear now that are music libraries, it sounds like anything you hear on the radio. The quality of it and just like the writing and everything that goes into it. Like these are real artists that write this stuff, like real composers that are so talented. And I don't know the percentage, but I'm sure that like 70% of what you're watching is all library music, so
okay,
I mean it's a lot. Like
but if we took that away, we would be like, what the hell are we watching here?
It
would feel weird.
It's a very important part of the industry, and it's really fun as well. I mean,
I was gonna say, are you like constantly like, is it something that they're working with you on, is to be like, because wouldn't it be like a very cultural thing, like as a society, like we're used to certain sounds and okay, as an example, when I hear like that blues guitar, sometimes if I write something or I come up with, this is what I was saying about before, is like, I'll go, man, this sounds like NYPD Blue or a Cialis commercial.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
and you're like, but that was in the 90s.
Yeah, but I mean,
so are you like moving with the trends and trying to go like, wait, what's something we can do differently, or how do we change people's ears? Does that come into play?
I mean, absolutely. You know, you're always trying to follow the trends, but also creating something new that's exciting.
Yeah.
So, you know, for example, we have a whole label that's all South American music, and it's, you know, recorded in the country where it's from. So like, you know, the tango we recorded in Argentina. We just went to Cuba and recorded, you know, a bunch of really cool stuff. Like,
really?
Yeah. So, you know, we try and do everything as authentic as possible and something that's exciting and something that's different.
Especially for like a particular scene.
Yeah.
Or whatever it calls for, because you don't want somebody to go, that's not real.
Right.
It would not sound like that.
If you have a scene and they're in, you know, they're in Brazil, they're going to want music that's from Brazil, you know.
And you guys make sure that whatever's being, let's say, picked for that scene is like, this was recorded by a Brazilian artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is authentic to their culture.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you guys.
And I mean,
that's good.
Yeah, super important. And you know, because we're a global company as well. We're not just in the US.
Right.
So, you look at France, for example, they're going to go, well, we need this for this market. You know, it's all different. Like, you know, when I go back to Sweden and I see TV shows over there, it's very different. You know,
really?
Yeah, I mean, the music is different from what it is here.
Okay, yeah.
So it's all, you know, and you know, then you go to Asia and it's different, and you go to Australia and it's different. You know, so it's a lot of content comes out of the US, but it's a very different landscape elsewhere.
Yeah, no, and that would make sense, because then, especially like as a society or a cultural thing, they're going to associate or whatever, and you're going to play to that, probably to that market, depending on where it's going.
Yeah, I mean, we just released like a Thai love ballad album.
Did you really?
It's really cool. Yeah. You know, so we do like random stuff like that. We think it's random over here, but you know, like it plays to a market somewhere.
True. Yeah. Well, and that's like also too, like, I mean, like as an example, like as the way music plays to a market to certain people is, I've noticed that with like, I think one like cultural, I guess, there was, what was it? I can't remember what country it was, but it would be like a band like the Foo Fighters or like Green Day or something, where you see a specific type of demographic that just identifies with it, and you're like, and they're not American.
Yeah.
Or it's like, it's just like, I don't know if it's the sound or the vibe of it or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Culturally, they go like, and then you see something that's from their native land, whether it's a TV show or a movie, and you're like, oh, that sounds like Green Day. That sounds like the Black Keys.
Yeah.
That sounds like Black Sabbath, or that sounds like Iron Maiden, or like whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
That's ingrained into their system, and they want things that like sound. Like I worked at a Hard Rock Cafe here in Hollywood Boulevard when I first moved out here. Yeah, I did.
That's a good one.
I know, right? Worked in the retail department. You know how many times people from foreign countries would take pictures with me? Just because I was a white dude with long hair.
Oh.
All the fucking time.
That's happened to me.
Is it because you were a white dude with long hair?
Well,
no.
You're revealing my secrets here.
Oh, sick. Sorry. We're gonna cut. No, I didn't mean. That's not what I meant. I want to apologize to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone, literally. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody wants to take your pictures, but like, oh, because you look.
Yeah, you just
fit
look different.
a certain vibe or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
No. I love the fact that what you're doing and what you've been able to do, especially with times like these.
Yeah.
That you're still able to kind of go.
Yeah. Like, it's, I mean, like I said, you know, coming from being a guitar tech, you know, I always thought I would end up in live entertainment, like, you know, working with tours or
at the shows,
you know,
and everything.
you know, promoter, you know, booker, whatever. But I just kind of stumbled into this world, and it's awesome. You know, I think it's really cool. And when you want to become an artist or you want to be in the music industry somehow, it's not really something that you think about. Like, it's not really a part of it that you're like I never really thought about it before working with it.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, yeah. It's cool.
It's a very, very interesting thing, because again, like I grew up wanting to play just fucking guitar,
right?
Like rock music.
Yeah, you just want to be a rock star.
Yeah. You see like that one band or whatever, and this is something that like we learn over time.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting to me, especially now. And kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, I wanted to do a show like this like 5 years ago because I was always really fascinated about the way we talk about things as musicians or creative people.
Yeah, because we end up talking a lot about it with each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
and
why,
maybe we can share something with someone.
well,
you know,
and that goes back to the thing of like when I finally moved out here, I was like, oh, I get like there's so many people out here that like talk like this and we care about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you grow up and you're like listening to a song that influences you and makes you feel a certain way because obviously music is emotional.
Yeah.
Like, you know what my favorite is? Okay, so speaking of the when I think of this music placement thing, we all have like, there's a show called Rescue Me.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys think about this kind of stuff. I'm sure you do. My favorite thing that I remember watching a scene in this episode, and the scene was a montage of all the characters, all the main characters in the show going through like a hard time. Like, you know, the main character's wife cheated on him. The one, you know, lady's going through the divorce. Somebody just got fired from their job. And they're all going through these emotions of this depression, this overall state of anxiety and distress. And the song that they pick to use for this montage closing scene of like 5 minutes was Let the Good Times Roll by the Cars. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So me as a kid, I remember seeing this going, oh, how smart.
Yeah.
How smart it was to not pick a depressing song.
Yeah.
To not pick a doomy gloomy.
Yeah.
And to pick an uplifting, let the good times roll.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 let the good times.
Yeah.
It's such an uplifting song,
Yeah.
but they picked it for like a very
it happens
depressing
a lot.
scene. And I was like, I love that. I thought that was the coolest shit ever.
I feel like that
'Cause
happens a lot with like horror. You know, when you're
What do you
watching,
mean?
like,
Like-
if you're watching like a horror movie or, you know, like a very gory scene or a bloody scene or whatever, sometimes they'll put on like the happiest song or like a very like,
Oh, because it throws you off.
yeah, because it throws you off, right?
Right. That's
So-
it's you're expecting.
But it makes you like really like pay attention.
Do you guys do that? Shit, you talk about
Well,
this, like, or think like, oh, we
I
should.
mean,
use
yeah,
some- we should use
100%.
something that's the opposite of the emotion.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, you know, we're the provider of the music. That's really, you know, what a music supervisor does.
Oh,
so
I see.
you know,
Okay.
but yeah, for
They
sure.
they would have to come to you and go,
Yeah.
hey, I got a scene that's depressing. Give me a happy song.
Right. Yeah.
To really
we want to like do this.
To fuck with our
It's called
emotion.
juxtaposition. Is that what it's called?
Wait, say that again?
Juxtaposition.
Is that a thing?
I think so.
Wait, say that.
Don't quote me on it.
No.
I think that's what it's called. Juxtaposition. Is
I
that
like-
when it's like you think one thing and then it throws you off and it's like another? Like,
Yeah, because it's the opposite emotion,
yeah.
right? Yeah, that's what I was like. I just love that kind of shit. I
Yeah.
think it was. I've seen. You're right. I've seen horror movies do that.
Mm-hmm.
They pick like happy-go-lucky things because then
Yeah.
it starts to make you feel more uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I guess this
Kind of like the Joker, when he walks down. Did you see Joker, the latest one?
Oh yeah.
He walks down the stairs,
So
dances
Rock and
down-
Roll Part
yeah.
2. Gary Glitter.
It's that, you know, and it's very like
You're
it's so
right.
dark, but you're like,
No, that was perfect.
You know,
that was
yeah.
the best song they could have picked
Yeah.
for that. It's such an
yeah.
uplifting.
That was
like,
a whole controversy, but yeah,
what? Picking that song?
yeah,
Wait, what?
yeah, because well, that's a whole other.
Can you
thing.
talk about it?
Well, I mean, there's been articles about it because Gary Glitter was, I think.
Oh,
convicted
you mean
of
that? Oh, you mean
something,
that
and
thing?
then, you know,
Oh, I
yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, yeah.
But you know, it's a great song.
Oh, I thought you meant just for the fact that they used that song, but Gary Glitter's got his own fucking.
Well,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and it was kind of like, should we use that
Should
song?
we use that?
Should
Yeah.
that really, you know, should we give him that?
You know what sucks about that? When I saw that scene, that was one of like the second or third thoughts that popped in my head.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
I
I
think a
know-
lot of people thought that.
Right.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's a fucking great song.
It is.
It's
yeah.
such a good song.
Did you grow up with that as a kid? Like
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Da,
But
da,
that's
da.
been synced so much.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's been in so many things. But like to me, when I saw that, it felt new. They did it in such a great way where I was like,
Yes.
this feels different. You know? Yeah.
Because it's such a if I remember correctly, isn't that right after the scene where he is it the scene where he smashes the dudes up in the apartment?
It might be. I don't remember.
Because it's such a dark.
It is dark.
That's another good. Okay, here's a good example. That scene. You know what I'm talking about? That scene
What? That when he beats them
when
up?
they're in the apartment.
Yeah.
There's no fucking music.
Yeah, no.
There's nothing.
Yeah, and that also
That made
speaks
me
volumes,
so
you know?
much. That's made me so
Yeah.
fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was in the theater like clenching my arm right.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know.
ah.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody play something. Like it was so quiet.
Yeah.
That's what was fucking
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
And sometimes that brings you like, oh my God, like, or they just put like a heartbeat in the background or like weird scraping or some shit, you know?
Yeah.
That can sometimes do more than putting on, you know, and that's what, once again, music supervisors are just amazing at
Figuring out how to go.
figuring
Like,
that
oh,
out,
this is
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
That is so fucking. I remember watching that scene and being like, oh my God, this is so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it was so quiet.
Yeah.
There was no and I noticed that as a musician, I was like, there's no fucking music. This is uncomfortable. And then they flip it on you and they put a scene in there like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I get it now. I think another good, speaking of the Joker, is probably one of my favorites is The Dark Knight. Whatever they did with that scoring of a film.
I mean, brilliant.
It's
Amazing.
so heavy.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with the I might have talked about this on the podcast before, but with Heath Ledger's scene, it's two notes. I think it's, let's say for sake of argument, it's like a D and a I think it's, oh God. I think they either both start out on, let's say D, same note, and then one bends as it goes up and the other stays the same. So it kind of creates like this tension.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's like also like on a violin or a bow
Right.
type of instrument where it does not stop.
Yeah.
So that whole tension and that sound like gets to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's crazy, you know, because like on our end, I'll listen to these tracks and we'll have tracks that are like 2 minutes long that are just that. They're
Really?
just like a sound that's just like or whatever. And you listen to it and you're like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense when you just hear the track.
Oh,
but then
because it's out of context.
Right. And then you put it to
Right.
picture and you're like, oh, this makes so much sense, you know?
So wait, you will get just an audio and then you got to kind of figure out where it should go or
No, that, I mean,
or that's already decided.
well, yeah, so that's like what my clients do, right? But you know,
Oh,
we'll have the audio files and just, you know, sometimes you're like, what the hell is this going to go in? And then somebody licenses it and it ends up being in a crazy
And then you
scene.
hear it totally different.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck, you know, it happens all the time. Like I'll hear, you know, a track, whatever it is, and I'll be like, oh, this will work so good for this or whatever. And then you hear it, like I'll be like, oh, this is great for reality TV. And then you hear it in a beer commercial.
And you're like, oh, I never would have saw that.
yeah, but then, you know, like, where did I see that? I think we had like a car commercial, like mariachi song in it. And
Oh,
you're
okay.
like,
Yeah.
what? And it works, you know?
And it
you're
works
just
so
like,
well,
Oh my God,
yeah.
this is so cool, you know?
Yeah.
So it's sometimes, once again, like if you're a composer, I think just do whatever. Like
Right.
just like whatever you're good at, do it because it's going to work for something,
Yeah.
you know? And especially if you play like a very particular instrument or like, you know, like, I don't know. an
Or a
instrument-
style of music and a
Yeah.
vibe. Like, I guess maybe like also if I can say, like,
Mm.
it almost sounds like you're saying like, okay, if your vibe is A and B,
Mhm.
just stick with A and B and we'll use it. Somebody will use it
Somebody-
for whatever
yeah.
they think it'll fit for.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because look at it like you said, like they picked, you hear something and you go, you're not going to use that for a car commercial. You're not going to
Right.
use that for a beer commercial.
Yeah.
And then they do, and
And
you're
they
like,
do.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense for the context,
Yeah.
for the promotion.
Yeah.
That's what's really weird about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always love that resurgence in music too,
Mm.
when, again, because what we associate our vibe with,
Yeah.
like if a horror film puts a happy song
Right.
in there, you're like, okay, that's now fucking creepy for the rest
Yeah.
of my life.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
The zombies, times of the season, the times of the season. Yeah. You know that song?
No.
Doom, doom, doom. Ah, doom, doom,
Oh, yeah,
doom.
of course. Yeah, yeah,
They use that in The Conjuring, in the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
In the trailer.
Mm.
Now, here's where they set it up really well. Because when you're probably in the theater,
Mhm.
you're sitting in your seat. This is probably why it works so well.
Yeah.
This is my theory. You see Warner Brothers or whoever the company is,
Mhm.
and you see station wagon pulling up. It's in the
Right.
woods. You hear mother and father and daughter and brother in the back seat going, get your hands off. And they're going, doom, doom, doom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is like a feel good
Right.
fall summer movie.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh shit. And then they stop the music and they're at this basically possessed house. It's the Conjuring, the whole thing. And I was like, that's what I like.
Yeah.
They threw me off.
Yeah.
And then it creates a creepy fucking vibe because, or if it makes you feel good, and then it sets you up for like a drop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's
Yeah,
interesting.
totally.
So wait, let me ask you this before we get going, because we can totally get this wrapping up here and everything.
Yeah.
Because I know we're keeping people waiting for us. Our many fans,
So many.
so many fans. Are you guys? Is this the kind of stuff that you guys talk about? You have meetings about, like where you go, think
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
Think about
Absolutely.
that. Like
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean, all the time. Yeah.
As like a society type of thing. Like, how do people feel, and how do you? How does this make you think?
Yeah.
How
I mean,
does this make you feel?
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. And, we get a lot of great feedback from our clients saying, this is what we need, this is what we want. And that makes us think like, oh, should we maybe tweak this? Should we customize this track that we already have? Should we make something completely new? Like, there's all these, we do custom music as well. So we create new tracks for stuff as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So it's
Yeah. So, we do everything. But, so yeah, but these are conversations we have all the time.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah,
That's a
definitely.
cool fucking job.
I mean, it's great.
That's fucking
Yeah,
rad.
it's great. Yeah.
So you could have somebody come in and go like, "Hey, we need something like this," and you're like, "Oh, maybe we don't have that. Let's get everybody together and let's put
Yeah,
something together
Totally.
that is going to cater
Yeah.
to something." Do you have anything like of a good example that maybe people could like,
Mm.
if they've made it this far into the episode, that they could check out? Like, what's a good example? Like anything that you might have off the top of your head that you know of recently or the last few years that you've done that would be a good reference point?
I mean, for custom music or for like just in general, anything.
Anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I literally hear our music almost every day, just like, I'm not being like,
No. But
But-
like you're like, oh, that's it. That's
yeah,
that's
like
us. That's us.
yeah,
We did
like
that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was scrolling through just Facebook and this promo for The Voice came up.
Oh, okay.
And it had our music on it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So like, then, it's sometimes you just like, oh shit, like there it is. And,
right.
or, you'll watch a commercial and you're like, oh yeah, we licensed for this and there's our track. And like,
Yeah.
like once again, it just like, it's hard to imagine it if you don't see it to picture and then you actually see it and you're
Yeah.
like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I did. We did the Fantasy Island trailer not too long ago.
Okay.
The Blumhouse movie.
Yeah.
That was really cool. We did. I'm trying to think. We did like Chicago Fire. Do you know that?
No,
that
I don't
show?
know what that
It's
is,
also
no.
like an NBC show.
Oh yeah, Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
Isn't like Chicago Fire and like Chicago LAPD? Or
Yeah, there's a bunch of
like-
them.
but they're all in the same world.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. So, like there's, a lot of cool stuff. But then I'm also, we get, indie filmmakers that do working on something and, they'll work on something completely new and they're very excited and just like, grateful that you're helping them out on the music side. And
Right.
that's super exciting as well to be a part of that process.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah. And, we get to be a part of film festivals. Like we sponsor Outfest
Oh, okay.
here
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And that's really rewarding because you actually get to be a part of a community
Yeah.
that, people are just really excited about what they do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and how many times have you seen a great film or a TV scene where they
Mm.
use something that just makes you go fucking like, I want to get a
Oh.
fucking car, or
Yeah.
I want to go to the West Coast, or I want to
Yeah.
go travel the world
Yeah.
because of the music that puts us in that
Mhm.
vibe, and it just puts you in that spirit where you're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna fucking do that shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Any Tarantino film, I will say.
Oh my! Well, he's the best at that.
Oh, amazing.
How many times has he used a fucking song that you go, oh my? It was a teenage wedding and the old folks wished him well, but
No, and every time you hear,
you're like, oh my god.
every time you hear a song that's been in one of his movies, you instantly think about that movie.
That and what's the one from Reservoir Dog? Or no,
Stuck
Pulp
in
Fiction.
the middle
With you, here I am.
Oh my god,
How creepy is that?
amazing!
Right.
So smart.
Or Pulp Fiction is Misery Lou, right? And now we associate
Yeah.
that in our
Yeah, or Kill Bill, like with the.
What's the-
woo-hoo, woo-hoo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Or Son of a Preacher Man. That's also in Pulp Fiction. I
it's
keep going back to
amazing.
the Pulp Fiction, but yeah, if you do stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it changes the landscape
Yeah.
to what everybody like thinks of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So, that, watching, those are my favorite movies. And
Oh,
just
of course.
watching that made me want to get into that.
Was that like?
Yeah.
Was that like a little bit of your hook into?
Definitely. Because I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I can work with that. I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. I'll do it.
Well, there
Just
you
knocking
go.
on the door, give me a
Yeah,
job.
yeah, knocking on the door, showing up to Australia,
Yes.
and you're setting the tone for us and everything like
Mhm.
that. So watch now. In the next 20 to 25 years, probably Martina Comuzzi is going to be responsible for how you psychologically think and how you feel
play with your
music.
brain.
She's going to be messing with all of you. Yeah, exactly.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. All right. So real quick, before we wrap it up here, I'll let you get going here because we need to go say hi to our adoring fans out there. They're waiting on us.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Do you want people to find you on social media and the internet?
oh, please do. Yeah.
What is it?
Well, I have an Instagram, one of those.
One of
little
those things with the pictures and all the stuff?
All that good stuff.
All the fancy kids are using it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you just want to kind of, casually follow me there, it's Martina B. Comuzzi, Comuzzi. Or, professionally, you can connect with me on LinkedIn.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So it's Martina Bergstrand Comuzzi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We can just talk about this stuff all day.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's what's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, no. Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yay.
Absolutely. Anytime. Being a part of episode 15.
Yay.
We're making our numbers up there and everybody. So, go bug her on social media and drop her comments and tell her how awesome she is because she is awesome. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get the fuck out of here. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Thank you. Bye.